So this is a really quick and a brief review of the Ford F-150, which is all new for 2021. Of course, the F-150 is the amazing sales leader for Ford and North America, as they sell almost 1 million units of the F-150 per year in North America. Hard to believe, but people are in love with the F-150. And the brand new version, which is for 2021, is shockingly good. I am quite taken back by the level of refinement, by the smoothness, by the amount of features that are offered, and even the 3.5 twin turbo V6 engine is really high performing engine. I'm surprised how good it feels on the road. And of course, being absolute number one in the chart, Ford cannot afford to screw up this F-150. It's super smooth engine, a good suspension system, and styling is good too. As you can see, Ford kept the traditional sloping line here. It's got a good, tough looking, rugged look, but very clean, right? There's nothing complicated or overly stated design about the F-150. I think that's their secret formula. Keep it simple, straightforward, but bold. A nice big bold tail lamp, clean lines all the way through here. Good overall quality here, good fit and finish, and this big bold front design. This is what people love about big trucks. And my quick take on this is, in terms of quality, is that paint job is good, glossy, looks like a really well painted body all the way through. Again, I'm saying this as an automotive engineer. Now, I don't have too much time with this truck, so it's going to be a really quick review. I will say that the body integrity, which is how the panels come together, could be a little bit improved. It's not bad. Maybe for a truck, it's pretty good, but I see some difference in alignment between here and here. And the hood, you can tell, it's a good gap here. It gets very narrow here, and then it becomes wider again, wider, and even wider here. So, and also this side is about 1 millimeter off. It's higher than this side, and the back gap is too wide. So the body integrity, which is not necessarily anything about defect, but in terms of how well the bodies come together, maybe so-so. I'll give it an average mark. It could be better. It's definitely not as good as, say, in a Nissan or Toyota. Here, same thing. There's quite a bit of difference in gap. This one is higher than this side, so the gap is not quite level. This side is higher than this side too. So I can tell by looking at it that the overall body integrity, alignment could be improved. But this is still the first year, so I expect that to improve as time goes. And it's not noticeable to an average person's eye. But if you look right there, you can tell this door is not a bit higher than this one. The door is shut properly, but this is still higher than this one, you can tell. And so the body integrity could be improved for sure. This, you see, it looks good here. On this side is perfect alignment, perfect gap, but this one is not quite right. And on the other side, it's not quite right. But the paint job is really good. And I think most people who buy a truck are not too concerned about this details about exactly whether or not the body panels are aligned. But if you're expecting a Toyota Tundra level of quality, you won't get that in this particular car, or truck I should say. Yeah, this part is a little bit misaligned compared to that side. But overall, I think what's most impressive about the F-150 isn't so much about the paint job or the body integrity, but the way the overall package performs. It's an amazing ride, really solid engine. If you're worried about moving from V8 to V6, turbo V6, don't worry. This engine is amazing. It's really punchy, good torque at low RPM, and it gives you a great acceleration. In some way, maybe better than a V8 because the turbo helps it to just kick it up a notch or two. And also very refined, extremely well, comfortable suspension. And then inside is like the Mercedes S-Class of the trucks. Super luxurious, lots of features. So it's basically a truck that has everything done right. Perhaps the body integrity and alignment, not quite as good as the Japanese, but in terms of things that really matter to you, like the performance of the engine, suspension, and the overall steering and the overall feel when you get into this truck and drive, is what makes F-150 the absolute leader of the pack. So let me take it for a quick drive and I'll give you my impression. But my first and very quick review on this is impressive indeed, and I can see why this continues to overachieve and outsell every other truck in the market. So let's go for a quick drive. So this is a really quick and a brief review of the brand new 2021 Ford F-150. This one has a twin turbo V6, and the first impression is that it's extraordinarily smooth, refined, and absolutely quiet. For anyone who's complaining about perhaps saying that the truck market is moving away from V8 engine, they ought to drive this one. This one with a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 is fast, it's quick, extremely smooth, and thanks to turbo, it's got a pretty good pickup that is not always possible with the naturally aspirated engine. The ride is very, very soft but very controlled, and on the highway, oh my goodness, I mean honestly, this is like the Mercedes S-Class of the truck. Very comfortable, very quiet, super smooth, and while of course it's a big truck, and so you don't expect it to be to drive any sportier than typical SUVs or trucks. You know what? Actually, the handling is quite predictable, and I know exactly which way the car is pointed. The steering effort is pretty good. It's on the lighter side. It is a bit over boosted steering, but that's quite typical in the large truck. But I have a very good road feel, and quite predictable in the sense that when I turn the steering left to the right, I have a pretty good sense of the on-center feel, and as well, the truck points straight to whatever direction I point to. It goes there quite accurately and quite smoothly. So I've driven all of the full-size trucks, the Tundra, the Dodge Ram, and of course the GMC and Chevrolet twins, and they all have their strengths and weaknesses, but this brand new and all new model F-150 is definitely right up there in terms of being a benchmark, because it's it's shockingly smooth, extremely comfortable, and it's hard to create this level of comfort in truck, because truck suspensions are quite different from car suspension, and they can't always control the up and down motion very well. But on this one, the typical bumpiness that I feel in older trucks are definitely not there. The shocks do a great job of managing and controlling the ride, while at the same time maintain a good composure. I think again, it's not a sporty truck by any means. No trucks are, and I would say the steering feel is a little bit light for my taste, but the engine performs wonderfully. Great pickup when you step on the gas, and as I mentioned, the ride is exceptional. So again, I've driven every possible full-size trucks out there, and I can give you a quick rundown. So let me start comparing to the ones that are not as popular. So let's say if I compare it to a Nissan Titan, the Nissan Titan has a much tighter steering, so that car has a better road feel, almost to the point where the steering is a bit too heavy on the Titan, and that Titan actually is really misunderstood truck. I think it has a really great ride, but it doesn't have as much of the feature as the F-150. F-150 is way more up to date, and I would say the F-150 is quieter and smoother. Compared to Tundra, which would be the oldest full-size truck in this market, the Tundra is, I'm sorry, but it's pretty outdated. The V8 engine is smooth and refined and wonderful, but the Tundra lacks most of these newest features that we have in this case the Ford F-150, and the Tundra just feels out of date. The steering is light, if it doesn't stay focused, the ride is bumpy, and I'm sorry, but we can't wait to see the brand new Tundra, because that one should be very competitive with something like this. but the current Tundra is clearly not as good as this F-150 I'm driving. Let's move over to the General Motors, the twins. Chevrolet and GMC both offer very similar trucks, and actually they're very good. They're also pretty up to date, and they have their engines are really amazing, particularly the V8 engines in those trucks are wonderful engines. The ride is also really good, and actually the suspension and the steering feel goes together very well in the GMC trucks. So the overall feel and the balanced feel is definitely their strength. But there's something about the GMC and the Chevrolet trucks that feels a little bit cluttered, and the design isn't very good. Now, I don't mean the outside, but the inside feels very cluttered. But on this Ford F-150, the interior looks gorgeous. It looks like a very upscale, expensive car, but while still looking like a truck interior. So I would say the interior is a benchmark. On F-150 is by far the best interior I've seen in any full-size trucks. So that's it. And then I would say the closest competitor in terms of performance and capability would be Dodge Ram. That one is hard to beat. That one has a just amazing suspension setup. It has a really great selection of different engines, and overall very refined ride and refined feel all the way through. So I would say Dodge Ram is a pretty close benchmark with in comparison to this F-150. But there's something beautiful about this F-150. Everything feels just right. The amount of technology, the features, the design, the exterior design, everything looks just right. And again, the overall look and feel is, I think, the strength of the Ford. It's a truck that you fall in love with right off the bat. Just you come on board, you start the engine, you start driving, and you say, wow, this is a great truck. So I think the rest of the truck market, of course, is a very hot market, but furiously competitive. It's going to have a heck of a time catching up to this Ford F-150, which is, of course, a best-selling truck in North America, and almost 1 million trucks, Ford F-150 trucks are sold every year in North America alone. So it's a shockingly high volume, and you can see why, because it's a truck you fall in love with right away as soon as you start to drive. Just the overall feel, the balance to ride, the predictability of the steering, the features, and everything about this truck says a grade A, in the sense that it's all well thought about and absolutely well designed. So I think the ride and the handling and the interior is absolutely gorgeous and well done. And so it's hard to beat this absolute sales leader in North America. So in conclusion, I have to say I do very much love this Ford F-150, and it's going to be really hard to beat this F-150 for performance, for a ride, comfort, everything put together. It's absolutely the benchmark right now. And of course, the interior has been tremendously upgraded and improved over the previous model. The F-150 has this huge infotainment system, along with all the buttons. So I'm so really happy they kept the buttons for the audio, temperature control, and driving mode, whatever have you. It's still all physically possible to push and prod and move things around. So I'm really glad about that. And you still get sufficient controls from the steering wheel as well, to be able to move things around without having to take your hands off the steering. So I like this sloping console here for the windows and the mirrors. And of course, it has the newest digital instrument cluster with all the information you can expect to see it. But really, the most I like about is this huge touch panel system, which is far superior to many other models I've seen. I think the Ford system for infotainment system is actually really well done, and lots of space here. You get both USBs, both the regular A type and a C as well, and really very comfortable seat, and very large center console. Lots of space. This will go forward as well to make it flat. So many features to go through. I cannot possibly cover everything in this really quick review. But the interior is both high-tech and luxurious and practical at the same time. So again, I would say the interior is definitely a benchmark in this industry. Well done, Ford. Very impressive, good-looking interior. Looks tough and rugged like a truck, but also refined and luxurious. And I kind of keep joking that this is the S-Class of the trucks, and it's very much true. Really interesting, some pattern here. The fit and finish is good. I can kind of do my usual rattle test, and I don't see anything loose at all. So overhead, center console, everything is pretty tight, well made, and it looks really tight inside. So lots of space in the back, rear seat and the front seat, very comfortable seats, and overall the interior is impressive and a very comfortable place to spend timing. So this is just a really great truck, both in terms of driving ability and capability, in terms of the design and interior. I'm impressed overall. And so I know Toyota is about to introduce a brand new Tundra. They have a really high standard to meet. If this is the benchmark in North America, Toyota better come up with something amazing to beat and do better than this Ford F-150, because right now, as it stands, this F-150 is probably the best truck in the world for a full-size truck. It is absolutely amazing, and that's how good it is. And that's my very brief first impression of the 2021 Ford F-150.